Hey, this is the Big JB recording on Wednesday. I'm trying something new with my camera. I was going to set it up, try to do it while I'm driving this morning because I've got some other things I was going to work on when I pulled up here. But I didn't get to it in time. I had to make a couple phone calls. So the camera angle is going to be a little bit different. The mounting thing that I use in my car for my iPod has one of those springy arms that's bendable, so I can, put it in position and control what I'm listening to while I'm driving. But it also has a clip that goes on one of the vents, and so I'm wondering if that actually might be stable instead of that bendable arm. So we'll try it. Maybe tomorrow I might try it while I'm driving and see how that goes. So I talked yesterday about that jerk, or as my buddy Schmoopsy on YouTube said, the douche, which he totally was, the guy, not Schmoopsy. So I when I emailed a response to him, I said, most professionals consider being able to change your voice with an accent part of voice acting. And he wrote back and he said that whether they're professional or not everybody knows what they're talking about. You have to completely be able to change. You have to be able to completely change your voice. And I can't remember what else he said, but I wrote back and I said, ha ha ha. Speaking of not knowing what you're talking about, then I basically said, actually no, excuse me. I wrote back to him first a nice email that said, so he said his thing about the professional stuff. I chose not to engage in that because I did contact a couple of voice actors that I follow on Twitter, and I said, what do you think about these statements? And then they gave me some good feedback. But regardless, but actually their feedback it matched my own impressions of what voice acting and voiceovers are, because I've been in a studio before. I've auditioned for voice parts before. I know what it's like. And every single one of those that I've ever done, they've provided a script, and there are roles that you can audition for. And they provide, some portion of a script to hear how you do. So I asked this guy, if you would care to provide a paragraph of text along with some, roles that you're looking for, then I'd be happy to record stuff for you and send it to you. He responded with, "We don't do that." What? You don't do that? And then he mentioned something about being able to completely change your voice. He mentioned the Family Guy. He cited that as a thing with being able to change your voice. You know what? I know that there's a lot of people who like the Family Guy. I'm not one of them. But I can't deny that there are some funny things. But you can tell, the trained ear, anybody who's got a trained ear, you can tell which voices Seth MacFarlane does on that show. That's not difficult to do at all. Then you've got guys like, oh gosh, I can't remember his name now. Patrick Warburton. His voice is pretty much the same in everything that he does. And there's nothing wrong with that because he has an incredible voice. You just got to get him in the right role. But I was so irritated at what he said about the Family Guy, because I can imitate anybody not anybody. I can imitate most people on the Family Guy, and being able to use a new accent, it was clear to me that he didn't listen to all of the things that I had provided in my samples, because there were some things where I definitely changed the tone of my voice, the cadence and everything else. Anyway. So when he said they don't provide a script, that's when I finally wrote back and said, ha ha ha, speaking of people who don't know what they're talking about. And I said, maybe this isn't about the voice actors. Maybe this is why, because he claimed he had auditioned 12,000 voice actors and only found 3 people who were good, who meant what he wanted. And I said, maybe it's not the voice actors after all. Because it clearly isn't. So there were a couple other things that really made me question the legitimacy of the whole thing. His email responses came from a Yahoo email account, which I thought was ridiculous. And then later in the day, I checked. I'm going to check again when I go into work, but I checked the website that he said that are developing this video game, and it had been suspended by the host, which I thought was interesting. And I also reported the guy for being a scammer on Craigslist, because there's enough things about it after I corresponded with him where it just smacked of a scam to me. And it may not be, but there were enough things there. I was like, you know what, this guy's a jerk. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's, you know, the website doesn't work anymore. The email address is a Yahoo account. Because, I mean, how hard would it have been if he was really legitimate, if he had set up an email address through his website? And I'm sure that not everybody does, but all you got to do is, you know, his name was Eric at, you know, the site that he provided. And I'm not going to give it because I don't want to give them any publicity. So yeah, that was ridiculous. You know, and I'm glad. I normally don't take the bait and respond with, you know, those kind of emails, but he just got under my collar, I guess. So I responded back to him. So anyway, that was yesterday. Watched the second part of a DS9 episode with my wife last night. Was very good. I really enjoyed it. It was in season 4. If anybody out there likes science fiction and you haven't seen Babylon 5, you need to go watch it. It used to be on Netflix. I'm not sure if they still have it on there or if they took it down. I think they might have taken it off, which I don't understand. But anyway, it's definitely worth watching. The first season, if you're going to watch Babylon 5, the first season is something of... it takes some dedication because there is some really bad acting in it. The original captain of the ship, commander, whatever, we refer to him as a sandbag with eyes because there's just so little emotion in him, and he's not a great actor at all. Would be a great voice for nature documentaries, but not a great actor. Still, there's something endearing about the first season. But once Bruce Boxleitner gets on the show and takes over as the leader of Babylon 5, that show takes off, and there are some really amazing things that start happening, and the story and the depth of the story is just incredible. And as you get farther into it, there ends up being some political intrigue, and it's deep and it's pretty amazing. And DS9 last night was on par with that. Maybe not on par, but pretty close to that level of intrigue. So it was good. I really liked it. The show is definitely getting better with every season, which a show should. I think that's it. It's almost 8 minutes here that I've been recording, so I think I should probably stop. I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you very much. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it if you would like this video. This has been TheBigJB. Please follow me on Twitter if you like, at VoiceOfTheBigJB. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Bye.